So everybody, my name is Rehan. Thank you for being here. I was given this opportunity to share my experience of who I am, what I did, why I did, and what's the end game. So that's kind of what I'm going to share with you. Once I share, hello Prince, you were more than I'll be happy to take questions and explain to you. And my passion is to help you get to where you want to go, right? So whatever you want to do, we'll see how we can leverage social media networks to take advantage of it and then go wherever we want to go. So I am from Pakistan. I live there. A few years ago, when I was almost 35, 36, one of my mentor asked me, what if God asked you what you want, what would you want to do? Because I had almost everything. I said, well, I would like to end world poverty. And at that time, I was a very different person. I was very, more closed person, more regular, not 800,000 followers, not in a public space, just keeping and doing what I was trying, whatever I wanted to do. So how do you end poverty from the planet? That's like a crazy goal. And that was also before Bill Gates said it, before other guys I heard saying them that this is possible. So we were all asked to write it on a board. Write it on a board. If it's your goal, you should look at it every day so you can actually try to achieve it. So I looked at it every day, anything about it. What can I do? Coming from a technology background, I thought, well, let's start by creating 1 million entrepreneurs to start off with, because million in the internet world doesn't seem like a big number. You have, at that time there were 100 million Facebook users, 100 million Google users. Well, let's try to make at least 1 million users somehow. I don't know how, but let's try to do that. So the goal became, let's start 1 million businesses, help people, 1 million people start their own businesses. I started talking about it. First, I was very shy to talk about it because it's a very crazy goal again. I started talking about it. Once I started talking about it, I got feedback, and one of the mentors, you could say, said, well, instead of starting 1 million businesses, why don't you think of 100 small businesses that can be started 10,000 times? That makes it 1 million businesses. So we said, oh, that's an easier way to do it. So we started looking for businesses that can be started in $100 and can be scaled 10,000 times. Now, $100 doesn't seem much in this country, but where I come from, $100 it is possible to start a business at $100. So we started creating 120 different new ventures online. We set it up 120 websites. We hired people who could first go out, meet 500 people who do that business already, find the best practices and learn what are the best practices, and create small little Subways, small little McDonald's, small little everything which you can think of, but in scale. How do you scale that? So we started doing that, and then the point came, how do you market all this? How do you brand it? So we did different branding techniques, and I've been following Richard Branson for a long time, and I saw that everything he starts with a Virgin. Everything he has, he puts Virgin brand on it, and he was the biggest brand ambassador of Virgin himself. So my team asked me, you need to go out there and brand yourself so that people who know you and don't know you come and we take advantage of your branding, so that whenever the product comes, we can kind of use your name and brand to market it. So we started doing that, and at that time I had maybe like 5,000 friends or something like that. I've always been connecting people since I was a little kid. I threw at parties at home. I started computer business when I was really small. So when I was 15, 16, we had lunch parties at my home where computer vendors would come and have lunch, and those people who were not talking to each other were still there. And I saw that a year later they were actually doing business together with them, just because somehow they were meeting each other. So I was still connecting them. I was still kind of getting them in the same room. When that's before internet, that's before email, so I started doing that. Then when email came, I started introducing people, hey, you should use email. I started one of the first email company in Pakistan, internet company in Pakistan. So I started introducing people, hey, you should know each other because this is, you can collaborate together. It's kind of like a venture cafe, what they do. Create space where people can come and meet each other. So I was still doing that, and on Facebook, a lot of people, I started building, I started talking, started teaching everything I knew. Like, I never went to college or college or university, so I started teaching the techniques which I learned by doing a lot of different things, small little techniques on how we can start your own business. And that's how it started, a lot of videos on Facebook, a lot of videos on YouTube, all that started happening, and I started branding myself. Instead of branding, so as a tech company, I had many companies. One was called Pakistan Computers, the other one's called Brain Internet Services, then there was Faxaway, Net2Phone, a lot of other brands. So I thought the shelf life of a tech company is no longer than 3 years. It goes away. But if you brand Branson, he's there till he dies. So he is there. If you brand Jesus, he's still here. So how about, that's why we chose to brand us, brand me, and we started branding, marketing. As when I was selling my tech services, I was one of the best marketeers because I was using crazy ways of marketing, which wouldn't cost a lot of money, but we would still go out and put a lot of banners, billboards, whatever we can. We were marketing the hell out of our products, and everybody knew them, even though we were very tiny. So all the branding techniques which I learned went into finally branding Rehan, so that we can have a large audience. So now we have Rehan Cafe or Rehan Burgers or Rehan Fries. All of a sudden Rehan goes out and talks about it. We get thousands of followers instantly on the product because Rehan now has 200,000-300,000 followers, and all of a sudden that product gets branded. Otherwise you'll have to brand each of the product, and the cost of branding each of them would be higher. So we started using my own brand in other products. In the meantime, I started a school. The school was targeted of Pakistan, and 65% of the country of India, which is 650 million people, cannot read their name in any language, right? So that's the scale of issues with technology. At that time, no smartphones. There were stupid phones, the $10 stupid phones available. So we thought, why not take these celebrities that everybody knows in that part of the world, Amitabh Bachchan or Katrina Kaif or Tom Cruises of that part of the world. Why don't we ask them to teach? So we started creating a school, which was the goal was to empower those 140 million Pakistanis, 650 million Indians who cannot read or write anything. So I full-fledged went for 2 years marketing that product, which is free content for anyone to watch, and if they watch it, they would learn basic literacy for free. Again, that gave me a lot of leverage. The people started following me more and more. Now, what is this guy doing? How can he do it on his own? The whole government can't do it. How can one guy do this, right? So that kind of gave me more and more following and more following. And initially, when I started using my brand, my own name, I got a lot of heat. Why is he using your own name? Why, he's trying to self-portray. He's trying to brand, become famous. He's trying to get money out of people. When you get a lot of heat from when you try to do something very different in a culture, wherever that is, be it here, be it overseas, anything different is always criticized. So the biggest challenge was, how do I deal with my own self? How do I look in the mirror saying that I'm not really doing it for my own ego or for myself? And that's where you will, when after this I'll ask you questions. What if you had 1 million followers? How would you become? How would you feel? What is it that you can deal with yourself? Because that's the biggest obstacle I found. Once I said I want to empower these, again, I couldn't say it from my mouth. It was like I was shaking to say it because it's such a big commitment to make. And then same thing with whenever I would say, my school was called Rehan School. That's my name. So again, I would be very shy to say it because, I was kind of like, how can I brand myself? Why does it have my name? Why doesn't it have my father's name or my uncle's name or, country's name or something? And I got a lot of heat in the first 4 or 5 years. and after that, it just people forgot about it. People within themselves started to say Toyota, Suzuki. All these are family names. All these were human beings. Sony. All these were people's name, and eventually they became a brand. So they stopped criticizing. I had to go through that criticism process, and now I don't give a rat's ass for what they say, and now it's just growing on its own. How did we do it? We used a lot of Facebook advertising initially. I don't know why I was advertising in the start, but I found that for a penny you could get advertised in African countries and certain countries, because in the US it was still $1 a like to advertise yourself. So I started advertising myself in African countries, in Albania, Macedonia, Lithuania, these countries which nobody even knew about. It was just a penny ads, you could say. So I ended up having friends from all over the planet. So my Facebook became very multicultural. It was weird. I went to Cambodia. I went into a 2.5-star hotel, checked in, and said, the guy was like, "You're my Facebook friend." And I was like, "What?" Because that was the weirdest thing which has ever happened to me, because in Cambodia I wasn't expecting that at all. I've had that in London, I've had that in other places from my own community, but a Cambodian recognizing me was very weird. Kind of liked it, but was still weird. So why did I do it? Because we wanted to save money in branding our products. So I wanted to brand a person so that we can then just say Jesus said that, or Jesus said that, or Rehan's product is this, or Rehan's product is that. Kind of similar, not that I'm Jesus. So kind of like that. Then if you go in detail in my history, I started a business in the US in 1999. I started coming back and forth. In 2003, after 9/11, I went back, and I was not allowed back in the US for 11 years. I applied many times. I was rejected 16 times to come to the US. I couldn't even know why I was banned or blocked or denied visa. So some of my customers started saying, you're fake. You did something wrong. You must have done something wrong. The U.S. State Department is not stupid. Aren't they granting you visa? I don't know. But I started making videos, and that's when actually, if we go back, I started talking to my customers directly through video, so that they can actually know I exist. I am there. I'm real. There was no Facebook Live, so it could still have been fake, but like the moon landing. But still, I was still making videos to talk to them. So I actually had to invent myself from a very shy person who couldn't talk in front of people to a person who's making videos. And then now I make videos all day long, and that's all I do. So eventually I became a resident of Dubai, and in Dubai, every time there is an immigration card they give. You don't have to go through immigration like over here. If you go in, you stand in a line for a day. I mean, like not a day, for like a few hours. So in Dubai, they have this digital immigration card. You just put it in, and then you can just pass. And they do an iris scan, they do a finger scan, and you just go. It's like 5 seconds. So I got that, but every time I would go, they would stop me. They'll say, "Hey, come on here. I want to see you." I'm not that handsome. Why do you want to see me? It turned out that my name on my card, the same name guy did something wrong in Dubai, and he was blacklisted. And I was like, maybe that's the reason I'm not getting American visa. So I just said to him, "Can I add my family name to my passport? Would that help?" He said, "I don't know, try it." So I actually went and added my family name, and since then I was never stopped. And then I applied for the US visa. I got a visa. Weird, right? So some guy who had a similar name did something, and I was accused of it. So I came in. I was abusing Facebook as much as I can while I was not allowed in the US. So I made everyone who was anyone in this country my Facebook friend. So Steve Wozniak, who invented Apple, was my Facebook friend. Steve Case, who invented AOL, was my Facebook friend. Anybody you can think of who did something great or had a TED Talk, he was my Facebook friend. because it was early times, nobody was denying you. It's like LinkedIn, everybody says yes, but on Facebook at earlier time, everybody just said yes. So I became friends with them. And my mission when I was in the US, I was actually, the first city I came was in Boston. Our company won an award for the best performing Asian company, so we were actually invited at Harvard, as all the winners did. And after that, my mission was to go to every of my friend who would host me or buy me dinner or something, and I just went to them. So I went around and they will all ask my story. So I became lazy. I wanted to give out a card which actually told my story. So the terminology came from the West Coast. Everybody says there, so what's your story? So I was like, okay, here's my story. Here you go. Just read it. So, and then as a marketeer, I understood that you have to have a end game or a call to action or something. So this is like the 5th version of the card, where I wrote, I had like 600,000 followers at that time. I wrote that I want 1 million followers, so that people would just, do something, add me on there. And then by that time, I already started an organization called the Institute of Peace. And I was again introducing people on Facebook between Israel and Palestine, India and Pakistan, trying to make them fight each other on Facebook rather than with guns, so that they could, talk it out. Just like you go into therapy, I was doing therapy on Facebook. I still do that if you join me on Facebook to see what I do. So that's kind of the end game of 1 million followers, why I want 1 million people, because I found over the years that people talk about each other, but they don't talk to each other. People will always talk about third party, but they wouldn't go out and talk to them. It could be Jews, Muslims, Hebrews, whoever, whatever, black people, African American, whatever they want to call it. We always while I was doing a tour in the US, I went to, southern parts of the US, to very, very strong white areas where I was like scared to go into a church even. I was like, oh my God, this is like my end day. But I was still able to make it out of there. And I found that they were really great people once you get to know them, right? So you have to have a conversation. So my whole life has now been about conversation. That's where this book came out. People didn't know how to behave on Facebook. People did not know how to actually have a conversation. I did not know how to behave on Facebook. I was blocked by a lot of people. I was accused like, oh, you're hitting on me. I was like, no, I'm just saying hello. I'm just trying to be a Facebook friend. I don't even live in your country. So I had to learn through all that, and that's my experience shared in here. I also started a project 4 years ago where I started giving free laptops to people who would steal my Facebook friends. Why? Because when I was living overseas, I was working in this country while I was living overseas. So my fellows, my people who were co-working with me, they had to understand this country's mentality, the mindset. So I was encouraging them to add friends from this country so that they can actually talk to you, understand the mentality of how is it being a local person? What does T means? It's not it's the train. It's not just the capital. It's just not the A B C D E F G. It's not an alphabet. So, and you wouldn't understand that unless you have been to some place. But now getting a visa to them to come in and spend some time here is like I spent $150,000 inquiring why I didn't get a visa. So that's the kind of a mammoth effort to come here sometimes for people who had never been here. So I announced a project where I thought, well, how can we change people's mindset? So I said, if anybody would steal my 500 non-Pakistani Facebook friends, I'll give you a free laptop. So far I have given 350 laptops, and it has changed. I have the data of what happened to those people and how their concept changed and how they started thinking in a different way. So that's kind of a summary of what I do. How can it help you? So now you have to think, if you had 1 million followers on Facebook, how can it help you? How it helps me is wherever I go, I have fan following there. I have people who are ready to meet me. I have ready to pick me up from airport. I have people to do whatever they want. I can just ask, and it gets done. My newest social experiment is I'm building a new city outside my own city called Karachi. It's a small city of 22 million people. So this is a new city I'm building, and it's all going to be sold over Facebook. It's all going to be like, it's an IT city design based out of my learning of the world, like a Googleplex or an Apple space. The best of the world in one space where people can come in and actually do crazy things. Like a Silicon Valley where you can actually go and be stupid. And nobody is there to judge you. So the land came out of all of a sudden to me. Everything has been done through Facebook. I haven't really spent any money whatsoever on designing the design, on buying the land. Everything just came to me through Facebook. So that's kind of what I do. And like this concept of the city came in. I was in Barcelona for a conference. I actually went into a wrong conference. I was sitting in a press room, I had a migraine like today. I was hiding from everyone. A friend of mine just walked in from Australia. I was like, dude, what are you doing here? He's like, dude, what are you doing here? And I was like, yeah, I have a migraine. I'm just hiding from everyone. And we started talking. And while we were talking, another fellow is walking towards me, and this guy says, do you know this guy who's coming? I said, no. Well, he just did an IPO for $100 million in Italy. He's an Italian guy who has built a new city in Italy for entrepreneurs. I was like, I want to do something like that. So, and he comes, hi Rehan, how are you? I keep watching you on Facebook. Okay, fine. He was my Facebook friend. I have never talked to him. His name is Marcio. And he told me about that you're doing interesting work for your people. I'm doing this city. Why would you like to come and see it? I said, well, sure. So I flew next week to Venice, saw his city. It was beautiful, and that's where I got the inspiration for. And I just, again, through Facebook. I had no idea who that was till that guy walked in. And everything just like been happening very interestingly. So there's an old saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know, right? So, this is a great way for you to take advantage of. How do you build a network? That's the question, which is the $1 million question here. I had to invest a lot of money. I actually set a billboard for Zuckerberg in Pakistan. I set a billboard for Richard Branson, for myself. I put up a billboard in the main city. Costed me not too much, a few $1,000s, but then I got that news. There's an old saying, news makes news makes news. So I put up a billboard that I want to have 100,000 followers or 1 million followers. Would you like to be my Facebook friend? Same thing. And it became news. So I became, it was all over the world. It was in Turkey, India. I started friend requesting from everyone because I had a billboard saying I want friends. So you have to do crazy stuff. Like again, Richard Branson, did crazy stuff, jumped from buildings, went on a balloon trip. You just have to make news out of what you're doing. And nothing is big, nothing is small. Everybody has a story. Start telling it and teach what you know on YouTube, Facebook. People will start following you, but you have to put content out there. So if you're doing a nerdy broadcast, I'll be happy to, share it, talk about it. I was telling you earlier about my free laptop program. So it has really helped me build a very interesting community. So if anybody wants time from me, they have to go out and hunt for 500 Facebook friends of mine before I even talk to them. Because a couple of years ago, before I started the program, a guy walked up to me. He was really nerdy. I'm sorry for saying that, but he was really nerdy looking work. If you do it, I'll give you my hour. He said, sure, sir. What do you want? I said, go out and make 500 of my Facebook friend your friend, and I will give you an hour. He said, that's it? I said, yes. I said, okay. A few months later, I saw a video of a girl from Bulgaria doing a video about this boy from Pakistan doing a charity or something. I watched the video and I heard some name and I saw the link and I clicked. This is the boy who actually wanted time from me. So he was like, I messaged him, dude, you wanted 500 friends, you have 490, do you want to come and see me? He said, no, I don't need to see you anymore. All your friends took care of all my problems. because basically what we are doing is we're not sharing our problem with enough people. And that's why we get stuck in different places. Once we start sharing our problem, become intimate and open, things started to change. So that's why I find Facebook a fascinating platform for creating a global economy, creating a global mindset, we all live in our own bubble. No matter how big of a bubble we live in, it still is a bubble. It could be from Mass, it could be from New York, it could be, once you start traveling, once you start seeing the world from the other person's eye, I think I did it for a lot of people over the years, and I got the data, because earlier I was just hunching, my intuition. Now I have been able to do it. So I strongly recommend you guys to start creating content, give, and all of a sudden you will start receiving back. The universe helps you back. Step number 1, update your Facebook. That's the step number 1. If nobody knows who you are, why would they friend you? Why would they look you up? So just like if I want to what is the word I'm looking for? If I want to kind of sneak in on you or know more about you, I can Google you, right? In 10 minutes I'll know the same stuff which you're hiding from your Facebook. So if there's a LinkedIn profile you already have, is all their information, put it on Facebook, so that people can see, your family can see what you do, your friends can see what you do, and that's step 1. That it shows that clearly in the book. Second, post some personal photos, like face photo, or with some people, so that people can think you're a real person. Sometimes people just post photo which it doesn't, or like there's a butterfly or a vase or a New York City flag or a US flag. No, that's not a good idea. Post a photo. And multiple photos would be great. Post a video introduction. Hi, my name is XYZ. This is what I do. Just like you introduce yourself. Just post that, and that will give them a feeling that I can trust this person. I can add this person. I can follow this person. Then everybody has something to offer to teach. Everybody. Our life experience. I was just on the way over to the Uber driver. I was suggesting him, post content. You're taking rides with different people every day. You have amazing 10 or 20 different experiences. Go home, make 2 videos a day about, this was a ride I had, this was amazing, this is what I learned today, and people will watch it. People are bored of the weird content we're producing. People will watch that content, and once you start producing content, look at Humans of New York guy. He started producing just photos. People want content, different content, and we are all unique. This is the first time in the known history of humankind our uniqueness can be portrayed to everyone. We don't have to hide anything. I believe that in the next 10 years it will be impossible to lie. We will have to be so transparent. There will be so many cameras on us all the time. It will be impossible to lie. Start practicing. Just don't lie. Start putting content out there, and eventually you can really make a difference and make phenomenal goals. If you don't have a big goal, make a big goal, because now the world is, I said 5 years ago in the introduction I was teaching about Facebook, that to me Facebook is like a global brain. If I put a problem in here, there's like 10 people who can solve it, but when I post it on Facebook, 800,000 people come in and start helping me. Not all of them come, but some of them come and start helping me with the goal. Same way, I was just hearing a video yesterday from this guru, what's his name? I don't know what's his name right now. From Los Angeles, an Indian guy with weird glasses like mine. What's his name? Deepak Chopra. And his video claimed that Facebook is like a global brain. We have these neuron connections. So all these connections are. I think you just came in through my connection. I met him in Dubai. So we just meet, right? And these connections, and there's this amazing writer who wrote a long time ago, we never meet anyone without a purpose. There's always a purpose. We just don't know what purpose that is till they serve. So keep those connections now, things in your life. what your podcast is going to be about, what Prince has to offer. Everybody here has something amazing to offer, and believe it or not, when I started, I thought, I'm just wasting my time. But when you hear a story back saying that it impacted my life, it makes it worth it, I think. And why am I here today? Last week I was told by a Facebook friend, you should go here. And then I came in and I met a guy and he said, can I do a talk about my book over here? And Andrew said that no, you cannot, we don't do that anymore, but you can give a workshop. So he said no 3 times, and I didn't take a no, and today I'm here, able to do it again through my social network friend network. Again, take advantage, grow your network as much as you can initially. And you were supposed to be here earlier, so I can convince you to be on Facebook, but and be your first follower. Yeah, but
my clients.
So that's kind of my story. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Yes, sir.
Okay, so a lot of times people use Facebook as kind of a political platform. So there's controversial things going on in the world, and people sort of ventilate there. So I always thought that if I even had a hint of that, it would be contrary to my business purpose. And so sort of for me, Facebook was always just friends and family, people that sort of, it really is tiny, I guess. It's a few hundred people, but it's not thousands. And I didn't think it would be a great thing to open that up. When you go to apply for work, sometimes they look at your whole public thing, and if you're for a Democrat, then you're not a Republican. If you're for a Republican, then you're not a Democrat. And whoever's reading it feels really, really strongly about it. And so you almost couldn't say anything. And that's sort of worrisome to me.
I think a lot of us silo our social media. LinkedIn for business, maybe Twitter for business, Facebook for more social fun shit posting.
So it's kind of fascinating to me that you sort of
method that you've used.
Yeah, I mean, you've come at it from a completely different mindset. I think maybe a cultural thing too. So
No, nobody in my whole country does it. I'll tell you why I used Facebook over Twitter over LinkedIn, right? So Facebook went out 2 years ago and created a free version of Facebook, which does not require data in 85 countries. So you go out, buy a phone for $20, a used phone, get a free SIM card, put it in your phone, and you're using Facebook for free. Twitter doesn't do that, LinkedIn doesn't do that, nobody else does it. Now, remember
Facebook, that's right. You get free
internet access with Facebook for free through Facebook,
somehow.
right? It's called Facebook Zero. And if you go back to my mission of ending poverty, and you need to go out to poor people, and poor people don't have a lot of money, and unless you change their mindset, they're going to stay poor. It's poverty to me is nothing, just the mindset. You change the mindset. You've seen a lot of stories of people who went broke, went again, billionaires, again broke, again billionaires, because they had this mindset, I can do it. So that's why I use Facebook as my platform, not Twitter, not YouTube, nothing else, because Facebook to me was totally free, and everybody had access to it. I have people in my network. I met people who have never been to school in their life, but they use Facebook. One of my employees who came to work as a T-boy, as a worker, he made a friend in Philippines. He had never been to school, and she was teaching him English every day, half an hour. And he started writing on Facebook, on everything. We had a party with him last week. He departed to be an entrepreneur after 3 years working with us. So these people, to me, it's like a school, it's like a meeting place, it's like a virtual mentorship platform. I have another friend I met last year. Her name is Carla Reachman. She lives in Washington. She was a school teacher. She's 65. She wasn't doing anything as something similar. I asked her, can you teach people to English? She said, what is that? I'm not an English teacher. I said, you don't have to be an English teacher. You have to just speak English. You speak English anyways. So she has been teaching, coming on my Facebook page live for the last 1 year, every single day, and she has been teaching anywhere from 2,000 to 20,000 people every single day. What does she teach? You just hang out with people, and she's no longer lonely, or she's, you know, she started walking yesterday because last time I met her she needed a walker, and I said, well, if you can do this, you can do this. So she had inspiration. She has so much love on her Facebook from everywhere. I wish everybody who was elderly, younger, school children could give time to connect with Afghanistani people, you know, Indian, everyone. I had another woman friend from the middle of nowhere in Ohio. She was like that, you know, personalized 85 Facebook friends. She somehow watched a documentary video about me, and she shared it and tagged me, you know, Bill Gates of Pakistan. And I was like, whoa, oh my, Bill Gates, whoa. So I messaged her, thank you for the compliment, and she's like, whoa, it's really you, and we started talking. And I said, can I connect you to more people? She said, sure. And 2 weeks later I said, can I connect you to more people? She said, sure. Now she has 8,500 followers, 5,000 friends list. She has helped 2 students get a scholarship. She has been, now she started a cooking show on Facebook, and she's no longer lonely. One of the people messaged her saying, I want to come to the US and kill everyone. You know, this is the kind of messages which most of people are afraid of. And she, you know, calmed herself down, and she replied after a few hours and started talking to this boy. And it turned out it was a 16 or 17-year-old Afghanistani boy who had never talked to anybody from America before. And he said after a few hours of talking that, ma'am, you're the first person I've ever talked with who's an American. Some of my family has been killed by the US Army, so I hate America. But if ever in America everybody's as loving as you are, I don't want to hurt anybody. I apologize. So that's the kind of things which can happen, again, through communication. To me, Facebook is a platform. You can do it for political purpose, non-political purpose. Like the gentleman, again, the Uber driver I was coming in today with, I was telling him, look, I wish, I was asking, would Trump be winning the next election? He said, I hope not. So, and he was like, I said, well, how do you hope that? What are the statistics? So I said, the only way that can happen is if you actually started to talk to Republicans. If you actually started, right now what happens, the moment you see the Trump post, you're like, I don't want you in my friend list, get out. So the conversation is not happening. And if the conversation doesn't happen, you don't learn anything. And the answer to that you want to keep it in your bubble, it is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But as I was saying earlier, we're entering into a world which will be totally transparent. No matter how much you hide, it will, tomorrow Facebook can change its policy, say everything you have ever posted on friend list, you can either close your Facebook account or we're making it public to everyone. It's a company, you can do anything they want. So that can also happen. But as I said, I think we should be careful of how to phrase what we're saying. You can disagree with someone in a way where it doesn't offend with anyone. So it makes us a better human being. So that's how I would say it.
Well, I agree with what you're saying. I like the mission. I'm just trying to think, like if you will listen to cybersecurity, I've had the lecture. They'll say, do not make your Facebook public. It's just, it makes you a target. It's
kind of the lecture which I get in the church saying that the devil is a really, devil worshippers are this and that. Of course there are people who do weird things.
Different missions, like what you're doing I think is working is a good thing. But at the moment, because I'm already spun up with the family. Totally fine. Stuff, totally fine. If you could maybe have 2 Facebook pages,
which Facebook doesn't allow.
They'll let you set up
a business page, but it doesn't. There is no interaction. My whole thing is you can have like his broadcast or his podcast, or you can actually have a page where you can go out and do a show and talk about it. You're still giving. And it will still spread. It will still grow phenomenally. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's all how you want to take something. I personally feel that you must become your persona. You must become your mission. You yourself should be your mission. After all my journey, this is what I learned, that if you become your own, like if you become the Steve Jobs of Apple, then things just working out differently. We don't know who is the CEO of Sony. Most people don't. And we don't have any attachment with Sony. and but we do have attachments with Apple because of a person. So that's what I believe. You don't have to agree with it. That's what my experience has taught me, and everybody has a different experience. You could definitely have 2 accounts to play around with it. Security, yes, you should definitely add your phone number to your Facebook so they can SMS you your code. You cannot be hacked into it. There are some measures which I mentioned in the book we should definitely take, which most people don't. Most people add their pet's name or simple password, or your name and your 1234 as password, but that's not secure. If you have something to protect, then you should learn to protect it. And if you just spend like an hour on YouTube, you can learn so much on how to secure yourself on cybersecurity. Of course, somebody can still be hacked, but generally you cannot. There's so much enforcement. I think my Facebook is less hackable than my bank account. Seriously, because they have so much more security than my Bank of America account. I personally think so. I still do too.
This is not an advertisement for Bank of America.
It is not, but that's how it is. The technology they use is so obsolete compared to Facebook.
I was just reflecting and thinking that you could probably apply the same concept just now on Facebook. So for people who do want to feel like their Facebook is more private, they don't want an employer, who could choose a different platform.
You can do Twitter, you can do LinkedIn today. LinkedIn is, when I started it, there was no video on LinkedIn. Now I come from a country where 70% cannot read and write their name, so I wanted to use more and more video. I'm not an academia person. I never went to college. I'd hate books, reading books at least. I'd listen to them now. My first book ever was like 6-7 years ago, and I listened to it. I never read any books before that. It's stupid of me, I'm sorry, but it's how I was. And most people, again, in my part of the world, don't listen to books or read books. The world is very different in different parts of the world. But today, I think LinkedIn can be used for similar purpose because they have enriched it with video, pictures. Twitter has the same live feed. The world is changing very fast. We don't know if this. For me, this is again a tool. 5 years from now, 2 years from now, Facebook might be changed by something else. It can happen because I've been doing this before Facebook, but with Facebook, it just allowed me to do it much gigantically, very quickly, very, very quickly. Everybody I have who has kind of embraced my ways of doing it, they have grown it exponentially. There's another guy who is working in Pakistan. His platform is called Jumpstart Pakistan. He's been doing for 5 years entrepreneurship courses like Startup Weekend. And he joined doing videos with me only a year ago, and he has exponential following within a year's time because he's focused on entrepreneurship, and he's only, I'm giving him the right people. He goes interview them, and all of a sudden their networks multiply because video and Facebook just, it's just very crazy how you use it. You had a question? Yes.
I do have a question. Or you say followers on your Facebook, are they all able to message you? And if you get a lot of messages, how do you spend your time and energy?
Yes.
Because I've run into problems where I've been burned out so many times. So, over the past years, I've stopped adding people that have fewer than, say, 20 people.
Right. So, yes, I get a lot of messages every single day. I wake up with I don't know how many, I don't count. My arm has been sick for a month now because I'm like this all the time. And I still get complaints, you don't answer my question. I'm like, dude, there's a block button, I blocked them. You can now go and ask on my wall. If they're really clinging on me, I have created processes. So you can, on your iPhones and your Android, create macros. I was just with another friend who created the MIT entrepreneurship program, and she had the same question which you asked, and I showed her how you can use the text replacement function in Apple. So for example, if somebody just sends me a hello, I would go back and write 3 characters and it'll send them a whole paragraph of instructions to follow. So it takes me 4 seconds, but still takes 4 seconds to answer them. It wouldn't, I don't have to type it down, spend 2-3 minutes. And I learned it back in the day when I was doing there was a company I used to do customer service for, 1997. and I got 3 of their guys fired because I could alone handle all their emails, because I created macros in my email software, and I could just tick tick tick, done, reply when sent, book would go, and just set macros.
It sounds like you almost have a bot version of yourself.
I'm actually working on it. I would love to have a bot version. I'm looking for somebody who can help me design an AI to assist me. Hello, like Jarvis, do this, and Jarvis, like an Alexa.
Getting there.
It is getting there, but I wanted more. Like, I wanted to know Eric and assign Eric and follow up for me, and get things done for me, because I love to do a lot of things and I can't because of my bandwidth doing things. So I want like a Jarvis or like an Alexa to actually go out and manage things, because I do so many things I forget. And then we were just talking about with Erica yesterday of starting a new business, and I was like, if I had Jarvis, it could just follow up, and most of the things fall apart because of the bad follow up in my world. If we can just automate that somehow, I can grow exponentially even more. But if you learn, I can show you how to do macros on Apple. It's really easy, and you just do like text replacement. You just type 1 or 2 characters, whatever you want to set up. So if somebody says to me hello, I send them an X message. If somebody says I'm a fan, I send them another message. If somebody says I need money, I send them another message. I have to read them. So, but then
I don't want to be mean to them, but like.
Yeah, but you can customize it, and also you can install a chat box like ManyChat on your Facebook, which will filter out the messages for you. It's free. It will take over your Facebook account, and then everybody who gets a message, it'll come to you, but it's like filtered. It'll force them to say what they want, what they want from you. They want to go out with you, whatever they want from you. You can I don't know what kind of messages you get, but automation is definitely helped me a lot, and I could definitely use more.
Could you talk a little more about Facebook Zero? I just looked at it. It says it's text only. Is that true?
The Zero version, yes.
Uh-huh.
The Zero version was pitched by Facebook to telecom companies, that if somebody started using Facebook compared to somebody not using Facebook, they have more chances to sell data for videos and pictures to them. That's
the real
their
data charge, but the text is not.
The text is totally free, and pictures is now free also in some countries.
Okay.
And videos they charge. So if you get somebody excited in a conversation, they get a video, they will watch it and they'll pay for it. So that's their pitch of selling to those. Why would the telco pays the bill? Facebook doesn't pay anything. It's yeah.
For millions and millions of people who are.
Yeah. It's really, really powerful, and I think it is helping a lot of people. Even though the governments don't realize it or support it, it's like creating a parallel world.
Even SMS you have to pay for it. It's cheap.
Yeah, WhatsApp, they have also done it with WhatsApp for free, by the way.
Free data?
Without data.
Facebook.
It is owned by Facebook.
But not free data.
You don't need data. They do WhatsApp for free in certain packages for like 10 cents a month or something, or totally free even sometimes.
Depends on the carrier.
Yeah. They kind of tweaked it into it.
Has Facebook talked to you, the company?
About this, no.
No, generally.
No.
They've never engaged with?
No. I've tried many times, but I haven't been able to.
Okay. Yeah, they have an office upstairs.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Sure. Introduce me.
Could have invited.
I actually asked him if he knew somebody. He said, I know, but there's not anybody who would be interested in this kind of stuff. I think I market Facebook more than any Facebook employee does. Even in my own country, I know in other places, I haven't met anyone in my life who talks so much about Facebook, because I really love it in terms that the potential it has to help people. But the way I use it, it's totally different than anybody else I know of. And then there are a lot of people now using it for similar purposes. So.
How do you keep people from hurting themselves with it? Because that happens too. It's a double-edged sword.
I like what? Like going and killing themselves?
Well, let's say saying an unpopular political opinion publicly.
The only way, I have 6 kids. The only way you teach them is by letting them make mistakes. I don't know any other way to teach them. I don't know of it. So if you know a better way, please do coach me.
Well, that you tell your kids anything you put online, you must expect the whole.
Yeah, because it's the world has totally changed. It is transparent. No matter how much you think it is private, it's no longer private. I was sitting with the Minister of Interior of Pakistan once, and he said, if you have taken a picture on your phone, just forget it. That there is such a thing called privacy. And it was his job to understand how things work. He was in charge of all security of the country, and I agree with him. This is 5 years ago. Now just don't do it. Just become a better human being.
But then you can also don't think wrongly, right? You get scared.
Well, thinking is about there. 10 years, 15 years maximum. You plant the chip, and thinking is gone too. I personally feel that it's happening. I'm very, very sure. My intuition says it's going to be happening. It's a very weirdly scary world coming in. I mean, just think of Alexa. 3 years ago, nobody had it. Just think of how amazing it is. I don't know if you're using it, but it's just phenomenal. I got one so that my kids can have a better English American accent, because it doesn't understand if you speak with an Indian accent or something. So you have to kind of fix your accent. So I got it for that purpose. But now all my kids have one in every room. It's an intercom. We page each other. The information is there all the time. So the whole learning process changes because you can ask anything anytime you want, without even touching Google. You can just say, so Alexa, what's my dad talking about, and it's kind of, it will explain what's going on, right? Does it help? Yeah. Can we help you build your podcast?
I mean, it's an interesting approach. I started working in social media like 2010, and that was pre-Facebook.
Have a seat.
Realizing they could charge everybody for everything. So it was a lot easier to build kind of a natural audience with just nothing. Like I built an audience for a state, for the Rhode Island House of Representatives, with really no effort because I didn't have to charge to get those views in front of people. I mean, am I personally comfortable putting my personal Facebook out there? Just because, I'm coming from Rhode Island. Rhode Island is about the size of a thumbtack and 6 degrees of separation or 2. So I like to separate those two worlds out. So I'm just trying to run through my head of like, all right, how can I apply a similar methodology to our page or to our group that we've set up to continue engaging people, but without having them cross so much into people's personal lives.
Where are you from originally?
I was born in Mauritania.
So I was in a Muslim Jewish conference. My roommate was one was from Israel, one was from Jerusalem, from Palestine. And again, I was talking about the same thing, right? Like I do all the time. And I said, well, I want open your follower function so people can actually follow you. I said, why? I said, because I want 100,000 people to follow you. So why? I said, because you're shouting every day that nobody's hearing your voice. And there's a tool right in front of you which you can just use to talk about what you want to talk about. And like everybody's kind of waiting for their 3 minutes on CNN. If CNN comes and asks you what you want, you will give them 3 minutes. But why don't you give their 3 minutes to your Facebook or your LinkedIn? You should, because eventually you will get on CNN for doing what you do on your Facebook, because news makes news makes news makes news. If you don't make any noise, CNN is not going to call you because there's so much going on in the world. There's only 24 hours they can do coverage of, and there's so many people. So whatever your mission is, I'm not saying you should use it, but as an entrepreneur, I can teach you one thing or share one thing is the best people who would actually, it's like you open a coffee shop. The first day, who's going to be in your coffee shop? Not the customer, right? You want to invite all your family, your friends, because they will get the word out, because they have some association with you, they have some intimacy with you, they have some friendship with you. So if you go out and use your personal account, your old network of school friends, of your family, they will go out and take your mission further. And they have to be on board. It's the hardest crowd to sell. I know that for sure.
Well, I mean, to be frank, there's like over like having been on Facebook when it was you need a .edu address to get in.
Yeah.
You had to be a student. That feeling of connecting with old middle school friends. 2 or 3 years in, you're like, I remember why I stopped talking. And you slowly start. Oh, jeez.
But there's always unfriend button, buddy. You can always unfriend them. Get them out of your life. You know, if they're bothering you so much, get them out of your life.
But would you recommend like targeting, like seeing who else on Facebook is interested in a given topic and just?
Of course, but the first person you want to sell to is the people you can easily sell for free to. That's my take. If they believe, the people who actually believe in you will start believing in your mission. To build a relationship with the strangers takes time. You just met me, you don't know me. It's going to take time to even digest what I just said because you don't have a context behind me. Even though I'm telling a story, it will take time to build that trust. And that trust is what actually does everything. You know, we all do things based on our trust, right? So take advantage of the network which trusts you already. Even if they are not, they don't like you, they don't have to, but they know you. But so they will help you more than a stranger would. That's what I'm saying.
Can you talk more about the follow function and what's Facebook friend versus Facebook follow?
Sure, beautiful question.
You separate that, or you make a new identity for this?
So a few years ago, Facebook started giving a function on Facebook. The limit was 5,000 people, right? You cannot add more than 5,000 people on Facebook as a friend, right? So they started a thing called a page. If you need more than 5,000 people, you go out and make a page. Then somebody smart in there said, you know what, we will allow a function called subscriber on Facebook if it's 4,001 person coming to you.
As your own personality or a page?
As your own personality. Now it's called a follow function, just like on a Twitter. Just like you were saying you had like 4 Twitter followers. And
come on, 31.
Oh, 31, so sorry. Maybe by the now it's like 100. So now they have this function called follower function, and most people have it turned off. And all it does is it allows people to subscribe to your public newsfeed. So if you post something on Facebook, say your son or your daughter's photo, and you say it's for friends only, the follower cannot see it. If you post something, I got this amazing new cafeteria started, and you post it as public, your follower can see it. And he gets it in his news feed. That's all it is.
All Facebook users have that?
Everyone has it except the people who are under 18. Everybody has it. Yeah, thank you. And you should turn it on so that if you get a friend request, if you're a cute girl, you're going to get a lot of friend requests. So you just decline it, and they become your follower. So they become just your market. They become the people who are consuming your content.
If I decline,
They become your follower.
they become followers?
If your follower function is on.
If the follower function.
Yes.
Great.
I'll check it out for you.
Because I'm deliberately actually
Now,
stepping up so
yes.
that I can no longer-
So you can only stack 1,000 people. After 1,000 people, you can't even stack. You can't even receive any friend requests anymore.
That's what I was trying to keep it at.
Yeah,
But
it's called public post. It's now even changed the name again, and it's called a public post. So who can subscribe to your public post? You can say everyone.
So you have 800,000 Facebook followers, not 800,000 Facebook friends.
You cannot have more than 5,000 Facebook friends. I can only have 5,000 Facebook friends. So every single day, I wish them happy birthday, and if they haven't talked with me for some time, I say goodbye, and I unfriend them, and I wait for the new person to come into my
That's
network.
your bank.
Yeah.
Closest.
So it's becoming more and more, quality is becoming higher and higher because I'm filtering the process, right? Yes.
You mentioned something about a few pennies for a like in Africa.
Right.
I didn't quite understand what it was you were talking about. Like,
Sure.
what did you mean by that?
Sure. Let's see what Prince has to say. Hey Prince.
Hey, good to see
Thank you for coming, buddy.
No, thank you for inviting me. Well, I want to talk about the big elephant in the room, which is the Cambridge Analytica, and I want to say that my biggest concern after the revelations in regards to what happened is privacy. I just want to know, from your take, why should people still use Facebook?
It's very different. I think privacy doesn't exist. I've said it multiple times. I don't believe that it exists. No matter what somebody says to you, your data is gone. I believe that. So it's a different topic. We can actually talk along about it.
Sure.
Your question is, so in Facebook, if you have a public page or a company page, you can pay Facebook and say, I want to show my product, my page or my video or my status to X and X people. It could be, you can target a country, you can target a city, you can target like anything.
Yeah.
You can say, I want to meet people who are 50 to 65 years of age, who speak Arabic or not speak Arabic, who belong from this country, and they will show that ad to that country only. And based on that, based on the demand and supply, they have a rate, a price. So if you're going to say show an ad to Cambridge student, people living in Cambridge who are from such and such demography, they will charge probably 50 cents to $1 per like.
Why is, in other words, if they don't like it when they see it, there's no charge?
Well, there is no charge to you,
Okay.
but they will not show your ad as much if they're not getting liked, because they're here to make money.
Yeah.
So, but if you showed that, say in Botswana, chances are more people will see it, your ad, because not many people are advertising in Botswana yet. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Alrighty, thank you everyone. And as for Cambridge Analytics, I think what Cambridge Analytics did was everything which was public data, we already gave it to Facebook as public.
Yeah.
It went to Cambridge Analytics. And then they used it in a certain way which anybody else even today can do it. So instead of scraping data, do you understand what scraping data means?
Scraping.
Yeah,
And,
my accent, so scraping data means that a bot write a software which goes out and reads everything for you and takes data from the internet, which is public internet. Like Google does it.
Yeah.
It goes and crawls all the website and brings data back into their own database. So that's called data scrapping, or how do you say it?
Scraping.
Scraping. So that's called data scraping, and that's what happens. So even today anybody can do it.
Oh, wow.
Now Facebook might have some software installed to monitor that there's a scraper coming in and trying to steal data, so they might stop it or might not.
Okay.
So all Cambridge Analytics did was they took the data with permission and they just gave it to them, and then they used it to analyze it, and like I read an article 4 years ago that Facebook can tell who are you going to be in relationship with 4 years from now. I have a friend who got a green card in a week's time by the state of North Carolina because he gave a presentation that after 18 years, how many girls are going to be born and who are they going to likely marry. This guy works for, now gives data to all the top companies, what kind of stuff you should keep in your store, what will sell 6 months from now, based on the past patterns of data.
Where's he from?
He's from Pakistan. His name is Zishan. So that's his business, that's his job, that's the kind of manipulation that can be done to us based on the data which is already out there. So it's a very different, it all depends on how you use your data. Most people don't understand this, so they don't really use it. Some smart kid or guy can use it to do weird stuff, which when it comes out initially sounds weird, but then we all become used to it.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's my, based on being in the tech forever, that's what I think it's going to be, and I think it's definitely growing exponentially, even if you think it's not happening tomorrow. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
it's going to for sure be a different world in a few years' time.
Thank you, Rehan. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming up.